Very cool. We're going to roll right into our next speaker, which is James Coffelt. Are you in the room here? Let's bring you up to the front and we'll get you unmuted and geared up and ready to go with your presentation.
Now then, so I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, we're grateful that you could join us. Tell us where you're calling in from, James.
Cadiz, Ohio. That's Southeast Ohio.
Okay. All right.
And little background, and I'm going to talk fast, so I have so much content to cover. This is coal mining country. Nothing rehabs ground like cattle. And this was all coal mining ground 70 years ago. Now then, the most important thing we'll talk about is I'm a businessman that happens to be in the cattle business. It's not the opposite. Now, how do we make money in this business? And that's a subject. Now we've got 8,500 acres, roughly 1,000 head, graze year round. In in the Northeast, and this is allanation stuff, just above I-70 is the best place in the world to raise grass-finished beef. Now then, that's a combination of the relatively mild winters, notwithstanding it was minus 14 this morning. And notwithstanding, we just got out of a stage 4 drought, but that's not typical. That is east of the Mississippi. That's the best place in the world to raise grass-finished beef. Now then, we do it. We don't feed at all. No shots, no worming. We're the ultimate low input people. Our cow costs are $293 a year in an industry that is $800. So you have a $500 advantage right out of the chute. Now then, right now, I put a post on Facebook this morning. Right now, it's minus 14. The next 2 weeks, we're going to look at all 6 groups of cattle and look at them and who's in shape, who's not. And they're all the same genetics, but one is fat and one's not. And the non-fat one we're going to pick out. And culling is such a huge deal. So they'll go on a list. We call that the train station, if you watch Yellowstone at all. And that's how we manage the cattle. Now then, I mentioned this year was a drought year, the worst I've ever seen. I'm 62 years old. It's the worst I've ever seen. Now then, we have drought insurance, which everybody should get. We're talking about business here. We will make about $150,000 this year from the drought insurance. And then the USDA jumped in with another 85. So that's 250 for no work. And that's something. And by the way, my closest friends hate everything to do with government, and I'm right in line with them. Having said that, we compete in the protein business, that is chickens, pigs, and go down the list. They get everything there is. I don't care what the rules are. Whatever they are, I want to know them. Let's play by them. So drought insurance is a big deal. We have almost no equipment. Any piece of equipment we bought this year, or any year, I should say, if we haven't touched it in a year, I sell it. And I don't care what the price is, get rid of it. All it does is rot and cost money. And the minimal is the best. The we made a huge amount of money with gas and oil when I bought it. If you think about the layers of income, that is the highest layer is trees. And what kind of trees are those? It's apple, oak, cherry, persimmon, peach, etc. And the cattle and deer eat all that stuff. There's not one single leaf that exists that they can reach. That's another layer of forage. Now then, we planted 3,000 trees this past year, and we planted them 30 feet apart, so that as the sun rises in the east and sets in the west, the sun still gets to the sun underneath us. So the grass keeps growing. And by the way, the grass keeps growing in the summer, and we just got done with a drought, which is rare here in Ohio. So that's a one layer. Next, we go to the grass. So we want, when the coal companies reclaimed our property, they planted it with crown vetch, birchwood trefoil, a lot of locust. And by the way, locust is actually not a tree, it's a legume. And that creates nitrogen. But the point is they're all deep rooted because the topsoil is so thin up here after the coal mining. They live even in this type of drought. Now then, on 8,500 acres, we have 160 acres of water. By the way, you have the water tested, have the forage tested, and the follow-up is, what minerals do these cattle need? And the pH in the water, interestingly, is 8. It's too high. It's 7, 8 with the forage, which is also too high. 7 is ideal. But the point is, you look at the cost of the cattlemen, and what do they pay for minerals? Well, they don't know what they need to buy unless they measure those things first. And we need almost nothing up here. We buy the cheapest stuff, and the cattle are fine. Now then, the culling program picks out who needs to go someplace else. Now then, add to that, there's all kinds of discussion right now about carbon. We have 3 different carbon programs going on this ranch. One is a well that's 10,000 feet down. The gas and oil is 7. Next is the water. Next is grass. Above that is trees. And we have to manage all of that. We made very, very big money with the gas and oil. We're in a good spot. Not everybody is. Having said that, when I bought the property, the value of the gas and oil was $5 per acre. It's barely, you barely even want to meet with them. It's not worth it. And then all of a sudden we can sell it for between 9,000 and 15,000 an acre. That came out of nowhere. And the lesson here is you're in the game, and that mattered. It just took a little time. Now then, when the gas and oil stuff comes in, they build roads, pave roads, made everything more beautiful. In this case, it was a cent. Now then, additionally, with the carbon stuff, or I switch gears here, but with the carbon stuff, we had that one well. They pay us for an option to lease. They've never actually done it. The next company came in and they paid us for another option, and they've done it 3 or 4 years now. 30,000 plus a year to plant trees along our fences. And they're with the idea of electric fence, that protects the trees just a bit, and the trees gobble up carbon. Nobody's actually done it. I don't get it. So it's interesting. And likewise, we've got another company planting rows of trees that is digging trenches, filling them with biosolids, planting trees. I guarantee that's not going to work. It can't. I'll eat my hat if there's one tree still there after the deer ate them this winter. In the lakes, we bought paddlefish, and I've got these numbers, or phone numbers, if anybody's interested. But they grow to 80 pounds. They have 40% revenue from meat. And the females, assume half of those are females. They'll have 9 pounds of caviar. And if you got on Amazon, that caviar sells for $30 to $50 an ounce right now. So how do we farm the water? Take the woods, harvest everything that has no value, plant something that does. And what does is the trees I mentioned. The cattle, it's another layer of forage above the ground you already own. So we have to find every way to make money. And by the way, if we were dependent on just cattle, it'd be tough. And then furthermore, there's a company we're working with, Agoro. In the next 11 years, we'll make just under $500,000 by doing 2 things: putting biosolids on the land with a little bit of overseeding. And by the way, the biosolids are 5 pounds of N. That's it, which is peanut stuff. But what they're doing is capturing those carbon credits, and they sell those all over the world. And like probably most of the people listening to us, I would say, boy, the politics just changed. That stuff's going away. But it's not, because this is world stuff, not just American stuff. That is Europe. Microsoft is all over the world, and go down the list, Hewlett Packard and so on. They're all buying carbon credits. It's at a fairly low price now, but huge money forward, I think. And the numbers I used are on the low side. So the point of this conversation is there are so many layers. That is carbon at 10,000 feet, gas and oil at 7,000 feet, grass on the surface, cattle eating grass, trees providing more forage, making the land we own 2 layers. We have to work every single layer. If all I had was cattle, oh, and I didn't mention we have hunting also. So deer are living. We have about 40 hunters a year. Uh, they just had a 70% success ratio on 140 plus deer. My point is that's a revenue source, and they're living on the same ground we're growing the cattle on. So it's interesting. Tell me when I'm out of time here.
Yeah, you're doing great. So we've got about 10 minutes left, James. So
Okay.
curious, um, so as we prepare for this afternoon, we've talked a lot about enterprise accounting and tracking income and expenses, and just curious if that's what you do. Do you track the income and expenses relevant to each of these income streams on your ranch?
Well, this is such a great question. If I get up in the morning and I sell something, I'm happy. And if I get up in the morning and I reduce an expense, I'm just as happy. So you have to work both sides of it at all times. And in our lifetime, everybody listening, in our lifetime, the world has changed more than it did the past 2,000 years. So every single day is a new day. So we have to figure it out.
Yeah. Yes,
I'm not
it's
sure if I
to
answered your
you, to you, it's more important of looking at it as a whole. Income is income and expenses are expenses, so you can increase the income and work at it both sides. But you're not so much concerned about um, well, you did mention, you do track your expenses on the cow side, which is extremely low. I've heard costs is well over $1,000 to carry a cow currently. So, I mean, under $300 is
By the way,
pretty.
it's on our website how we figure our cow costs. They're the
Okay.
lowest of anybody I know. Now then, I'm talking not as a cattleman, talking as a businessman. And I've got two daughters. If I have hope for them to be here, we have to actually have a functional business that pays for their homes and their families. And if I can't show them how to do that, they're gone. And
Yeah,
this
makes
farm
sense.
would be gone.
Are they
Yeah.
current, who's involved with your business, James, on the
Uh,
day-to-day side?
I, well, we've got 8,500 acres, 1,000 cattle, 2 employees.
Nice.
My daughter is one of them. My wife passed away March 16th. Um, so my other daughter's helping with the accounting stuff, but that's just very part-time stuff.
hmm Let's kind of wrap things up, James. We've got a few minutes left, but I'd love to hear um, a couple questions. So we get a lot of young people that are wanting to start out. They have no land. A lot of times they don't have capital, they don't have livestock, but they have experience and they have a desire.
Austin Troyer
Okay.
is are he's the model. He worked with me for years. He manages 8,000 acres. He works with Wally Olson closely. He leases all his ground. Uh, and he does custom grazing plus sheep. And he did it with no money, no equipment. It is
And
possible
where's
to
he
do that
located? Where is his
right
headquarters?
here in Ohio.
Okay. Very cool.
Tuscarawas County, Austin, Troy.
Gotcha. What are the
Yeah, and if anybody sends me an email, I'll return it with his email. And he's probably listening to us right now.
Okay, very cool.
Uh,
Well, Austin,
he
uh,
he did he built a ranch, and now he's in his 40s. Is my guess. With no money.
Or no money or no
and he
debt?
has the largest ranches in the state.
No
Pardon?
money or no debt?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah. Um, no, very cool. And concluding words here, James, what would you say? What would you encourage these people that are on the summit here to do?
Everything is all natural, uh, high density grazing, as high as you can get. By the way, I can't get there, on our type of land. All that we do is rotational stuff, but high density, uh, don't be scared of debt as long as the asset offsets it big time.
Cool.
That is, you think about the last number of years, um, inflation was terrible. And all they talk about in politics is, helping the lower people, middle out. That's the opposite. That's who
Hmm.
got killed. The people that succeeded are, are people with assets because they appreciated right with everything else. So it's possible to do it, but one half of it is a lifestyle choice. But if you was cattle, and by the way, we sell stuff at premium prices. Now, subtract the hunting, subtract gas and oil, subtract the fish, etc. It's not a real business. We'd lose.
Yeah,
Got to do it, everything.
yeah. So bottom line, look at the resources. How can you capitalize or in ranching for profit terms, concessionize on those resources that you manage to be able to derive value and
And I just paid 51,000 in property taxes. That's like somebody coming to my ranch and stealing 4 pairs.
sure. Yeah, yeah,
Stole it. That's the government.
yeah, yeah. Very good, James.
So anybody can call me anytime.
Okay, what's the best way to get a hold of you? Oh, so I guess
OhioLandandCattle.com. All my stuff is there.
yeah, and Margot actually,
And everything I know is there. 62. I'm scared about dying.
well, you're still young. So Margot put the information in the chat, which will click on that link, and I believe it goes right to James's email address. So I would give him some context and just say, hey, here's where I'm at. Here's where I live. Here's the things that I would like some help with. Give him a heads up and absolutely take advantage of that. So, James, thanks for being here with us. We appreciate you participating in the summit and the value you added.
My honor. Have a good day.
Okay, likewise.